I'm going to welcome to the stage. She's a world champion, gold medalist. She's a woman that doesn't need any kind of acknowledgement on here because everyone knows her. The wonderful Gwen Jorgensen is going to be hosting a Q&A panel with the wonderful Kurt and Erin from ROKA. So please stick around if you are walking around the expo area. Come on, sit down. We've got some umbrellas here and I'm going to hand it over to Erin, Gwen and Kurt.
Hello. Welcome, Gwen.
Yes, hello.
It's very exciting to see you here on the island in Kona. Is this your first time at this race?
This is my first time in Kona. Yes, first time at this race.
Fantastic. Everyone is wondering, are you a surprise late entry?
Well, considering I can't really run more than a mile, no, I'm not racing this year, and this isn't really a scope out for next year or anything either. This is a nice little tag along with my husband to maybe get a little vacation and a little bit of warm weather training in.
Awesome. So some training and some triathlon tourism.
That's right, yes. And a really fun year to be here too when it's women only. I thought that was, a really cool opportunity to just come out here and be here and experience that while it's here.
Absolutely. And we have Erin Barricini with us too, former editor-in-chief of Triathlete, now helping us out at ROKA. And we just thought it was an amazing opportunity to share some of the incredible things that we've learned from Gwen over the years and catch up with her because, while she is out crushing it on the short course, and this is very much a long course race, I think there's some incredible learnings that we've all gleaned from her over the years that we thought are applicable no matter where you are in your triathlon, human journey out there. So we were going to open it up to any sort of questions or themes, anything out there from the audience, but we can probably jump right in. So the place I wanted to start, and Erin, please, peanut butter and jelly with me here, anything you want to lob on, but I've had an amazing opportunity to work with a lot of Olympic athletes over the years, a lot of professional athletes from, relief pitchers in Game 7 of the World Series to, gold medalists on the ski slopes. And a lot of those athletes talk about the hard work, and especially on the Olympic side of things, all the sacrifices that go into fulfilling and chasing their dream. And one of the things that really struck me the first time I ever got to meet and talk with Gwen was that she had a very different framing of this idea of sacrifice and all the things that it takes to chase that dream. Gwen, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, this is something I learned from my coach, Jamie Turner, and I sat down with him when I was deciding in 2013 to live abroad for 10 months of the year, and I said, this is a big sacrifice to be away from my family, to be away from home. And he just looked at me and said, is it a sacrifice or is it an investment? And that really changed my entire mindset about, what I'm doing. And, when you don't go out, you stay in every night, you go to bed. I go to bed by 8 p.m. every night, like very disciplined in all these things. And I really enjoyed being able to say, this is an investment in my future, an investment in my goal. And this is not a sacrifice. This is what I want to do because it's on the path to where I want to go.
Yeah, and it's been an incredible framing for me. I'm a dad of two. We have an incredible team at ROKA. We're trying to grow and manage all that. I try to stay in touch with my fitness and athleticism, but it feels like we're trading one thing for another all the time. But I think that idea, whether you're chasing a gold medal or just trying to stay on top of your personal dream and family, that idea of making investments in the right places can really be applicable to many, many folks out there. So I've always found that incredibly valuable. So thank you for that.
Yes. I find it very valuable as well. And it just, it's a second reminder of I'm doing this for myself. And this is not taking away anything from my life. This is actually adding to my life because I'm following the path of what I want to do.
And now you had this incredible build-up. We got to see the incredible race and dream fulfilled in Rio. It was an amazing, amazing day. How has that philosophy changed, or have you layered anything on top of that? Has it evolved as you've become a mother, you've chased other pursuits, other dreams? Has that evolved for you?
I have just multiple goals, I'd say now, right? Like before it was only triathlon, and now I have a family. My family, for me, like at the beginning of the year, I write down my goals, and there's different facets. There's my family goal, there's my triathlon goal, there's my life goal, and so for me, that's really evolved, and I think it's really made me happier in what I do, and also it's just allowed me to, I think, as I've grown, not be so particular. I don't care as much about, oh, did Patrick cut the vegetables in the right way? Or like, am I eating at a certain time? Or these things, it's not so specific. And instead, for me, it's realizing like my family comes first, then my triathlon, and then I have all these different goals that I set out to accomplish. And something as well, investment, not a sacrifice, is something that I really talked about a lot. And then back then I also talked a lot about process, not the outcome. And I still have that, but I think it's changed into more just being present. And so for me, it's, if I go to the swimming pool, let's say this happened this year, my son was sick, and I went to the swimming pool. I focused on my workout. I completely forgot that he was sick while I was working out, and I got out and I'm like judging myself, like, am I a bad mom? Because I forgot during that 90-minute session that my son was homesick. And I really, I worked through that, and I really discovered that, no, I'm just being present and in the moment and focusing on the process. And I do that same thing when I'm with my kids, right? Like, I don't stress about workouts or think about workouts. I'm thinking about my kids and how can I be present and engaged with them. And so that's something that's really, I think, allowed me to be successful and happy, just being in those moments.
That's awesome. We Rich Viola, who had started the Everyman Jack team, and we now is the ROKA Standard Racing team, he said something similar to the guys this year when we were taking off the transition. He said, you need to take care of your family, you need to take care of your relationships, you need to take care of your career, and then you all can race free. And I thought that was a beautiful way to put it. And it's really difficult to bring shortcomings or feelings of guilt or like you're not taking care of those things onto the race course.
Yeah, and it's hard to manage all that, but I think it's also, you grow and you learn like what works for you. So for example, for me at the beginning of coming back into triathlon a couple years ago, I brought my family everywhere. I brought them, we went to New Zealand for a month, we went to Italy for a month, and because I didn't want to be away from them at all, but what I realized was that was not what they wanted. It's not what my 8-year-old wanted. And so it's about learning like, well, what actually makes the family as a whole happy, and then how does that work into what makes me happy, and figuring out that balance. And it's it's easy to say what you just said, like figure out your relationships, figure out your family, and raise happy, but there's a lot that goes into that, and there's a lot of context about figuring out what works for you personally and what works for the people you care about as a whole that are supporting you and they're along with you.
That was kind of going to be my question, because it sounds like you're so organized and really but truly like amazingly like setting your goals at the beginning of the year and everything. And like, how did you come to be at this point where you know how to do that? And it sounds like it always is evolving, right? Like after you had a family, you're like learning how to do triathlon with a family, but like starting out, were you always just this completely mentally awesome at everything? or like, how did you learn to be present here and present there and like let that go while you're training and come to family and set these goals at the beginning of the year? Like, where did you learn all of this awesome stuff?
Oh, well, I have a great psychologist. A lot of it's trial and error, and I was born very stubborn, I would say. And so when I set my mind to something, I just want to figure out a way to do it. And whether that's my mom guilt, for instance, like that was something I think I struggled with the most when I came back, and just working with my psychologist with that, and as well, thinking like the outcome should not determine if like my trip was successful and if that made it okay to be away from my family, because you can't predict the future, right? So you have information and you make decisions based on the information you have. And that's something that really allowed me, I think, and gave me some freedom to say, like, I want to chase my dreams. I don't want my kids to think, you shouldn't go after something if you're not going to be successful every time. And so I've actually learned, I think, a lot from my kids as well, and looking at through the lens of, you know, what lessons do I want to teach them?
Are there moments that you look back on now to younger Gwen that you wish you could share some pearls of wisdom from Gwen today?
One or two,
Probably just to be more relaxed. I think everything needed to be perfect, and I think that caused a lot of stress, which actually took away from my performances. And you know, the older I get, the more I realize it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what people think. I have, you know, a very close circle of people that I trust and confide in, and those are the people that matter. And that's something that, once I've learned that, I think it's just allowed me to just live my life.
That's awesome. And for those who don't know where you're at right now and what you're working on, some of your goals now, you're dealing with some injury, but can you give people a big picture, broad picture of what Gwen's goals are right now?
So I came back to triathlon in 2022 with the goal of qualifying for the Olympics in 2024 and did not qualify. And I didn't really know what I was going to feel like or want to do after that. And I was like, I'm just going to do it year by year. And then this year I actually had a surgery. I had a Haglund's deformity that I needed a bone to get taken out of. And it was a moment of, it really made me realize, like, what do I want to do, you know, long term, because I could have finished out the season and been done, or did I want to get the surgery and continue for another 3 years? And that was something that it was a very easy answer for me to want to continue for more years. I'm getting older, I'm 39, but this is something that, you know, I love doing sport, and you know, I think for me it makes my love right now for the sport really makes the highs and lows a lot more, I'll say, manageable. It really makes it more enjoyable on the whole, right? Like, I love going to places. I've really enjoyed these past few years, like seeing new locations and just enjoying the experience more, which my younger self did not. I think I took a lot of that for granted or just didn't care. And so I get a lot more enjoyment out of what I'm doing now.
And now going way back, you did not grow up a triathlete per se. Your love for the sport, your relationship with triathlon, can you just take us to where you started athletically, how that evolved into triathlon, and then how your relationship with the sport has evolved?
I grew up a swimmer, loved swimming growing up, which is kind of ironic now because that's what I really dislike. But yeah, I was in the water constantly. It's all I wanted to do. And then I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I swam and was the worst on the team. So I was good enough to be D1, but not very good. And then I was always kind of crushing it in dryland, and I had my coaches say you should try running. And so I tried running and had some instant success, NCAA All-American, switched over to running, and then got recruited into the sport of triathlon. And when they recruited me, I only thought of this, Kona Ironman. I had no idea they were short course.
When you say recruited, what was that phone call? Who called you, and what did they say?
This was a very long recruitment process. I'm very stubborn, and I do not like people to tell me what I should do or not do. So it was a lot of work by Barb Lindquist, who was USA Triathlon's college recruitment program person. You know, I think I met her for the first time at a track meet, maybe NCAA's, and I gave her my phone number, and she was more of just a mentor for probably a half of a year to a year. When I wasn't even doing triathlon, I said, look, I'm getting my CPA, I have a job with Ernst & Young, I'm doing that, I want to be able to support myself, I don't want to do triathlon, because I want something that, you know, I know I'll be good at and that I can support myself in. So it was a very long process, but she stuck with me, and you know, yeah, I just started doing triathlon, and I qualified for the Olympics less than a year after doing my first triathlon. So you know, it was pretty crazy, but looking back, triathlon definitely found me, but I found so much through triathlon. I've been given so much support. I found my husband. I wouldn't have the family or life I had now without it, so I'm very grateful.
And do you feel like your relationship with the sport evolved over your initial arc, and then you stepped away to pursue your goals in the marathon, and then coming back to the sport? Can you talk about how that evolved for you?
I've always just kind of followed what my heart wants to do, I'd say. After winning gold in Rio, I felt like I had accomplished everything, and I was just like, I've done that, I've checked that box, I'm ready to move on. Coming back to triathlon now after running, I really wanted to do marathon running, which I ran for a quad, but I was constantly injured with tendon issues, and it just was really hard on my body, and I never actually really got to do those marathon runs that I wanted to do. I did 5K more and 10K. I got pregnant with my second son, George, and started swimming again, and was like, I don't hate swimming. So ROKA's happy to hear that. But yeah, I was like, maybe I go back to triathlon, and I went back to it, and my first race was terrible, which actually encouraged me a lot. I thought, wow, I have so much to learn and so much to relearn and get back into the sport, and it just was something that sparked something in me.
For the record, we love people who hate swimming or struggle with it. We like to help them hate it less.
Yes. And if all the water was as beautiful as it is here, I think everyone would love swimming. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and I think people are really curious about pursuing single sport versus multi-sport, and how your body feels, how your energy systems work, and I think you have a really unique perspective on that. Is there anything that you've learned or like to share or have seen in sort of your transition back into multi-sport training?
Yeah, I would like to do another marathon one day, and I realized that my body does not handle 120 miles a week very well, and so to be able to realize now that, I can get the endurance from other sports and do less run volume and more quality. That's something that is definitely in the back of my mind that I want to experiment with someday. Not necessarily on the professional level. I want to get the most of myself, and I think I can run faster than I've run. But it's something that I definitely think about a lot, with how the training, when you do more than one sport, it really complements each other. I've had some of my fastest runnings in races when I've done triathlon, when I've been doing swim, bike, and run, which is interesting. So it's definitely something that I think it's healthy and good for your body.
Erin and I both have 2 young ones. You have 2 young ones now. Can you talk a little bit about balancing multiple kids with multiple sports and everything at home? Are there anything that you have gleaned, or tips or tricks you'd like to share with the other parents out there?
Tips or tricks? Get help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Patrick and I, with our first child, we got no help, no daycare, no nanny, no nothing, no grandparents lived by. So that was, I think, I think it put a strain on all of us. And once we've gotten help with a second child, it's been a lot more enjoyable. I feel like I've been able to give more to my children, and for me, I think it comes back to what I kind of talked about earlier about just being present. So if I'm with my kids, I'm not on my phone, I'm not doing triathlon stuff, I'm not thinking about other things, I'm being present, and I'm spending that quality time with them. And when I'm away from them, same thing, I'm not thinking about them. So for me, it's all about trying to be really intentional about what I'm doing and focusing on that in the moment. And I find that for me, that's given me just a lot of quality in what I'm doing, and allowing me to pursue my goals and be a better mom than when I come home with them.
I think another amazing thing that I've seen in your evolution as an athlete is you have had to manage both extreme external pressure with your own internal stubbornness and your own internal pressure. but I feel like you have a different perspective. There's a different vibe from you now as an athlete than when I first knew you in 2013, 2014. Can you talk a little bit about external versus internal goals and pressure and what you've learned?
I definitely have way more internal pressure than external, and I would say that's been my entire career in life. It's been like that. I remember going into the Olympics, and I just remember thinking in 2016, like, if I get a silver or bronze, this is just complete failure. And for me, that was all just internal. None of that was external pressure. So it's something that, yeah, I think I just always want to get the best out of myself, and I know what I can do. And so for me, it's putting that, pressure on myself to perform at my best, and I think that can be a good thing in a way. But yeah, I think now I still put that pressure on myself, but the highs and lows are so much easier for me to manage just because I truly love what I'm doing and I'm really appreciating it. And I get really frustrated when I have bad races and it's, what am I doing? What's happening? But for me, it's easier to handle that roller coaster just because I truly do enjoy what I'm doing. And I don't really see it ending anytime soon because it is a really fulfilling thing for me.
Do you think that the swimming background, do you think it's nature or nurture, the internal pressure? Because I feel like a lot of the swimmers that I grew up with, we also have that internal coach or critic, the clock doesn't lie kind of mentality.
That's a great question. I've never thought about that. I think for me, since I was young, I've definitely had that, and I don't know if that's from swimming or if, maybe personality-wise, you then choose swimming, right? I have not put much thought into that. It's a great question.
Yeah, for me, I try to explain to folks, like, with swimming, it's the distance is controlled,
Yes.
the temperature is controlled, the clock does not lie. 59 seconds is 59 seconds, and if my goal is to break 59 seconds and I go a minute, it feels, it's tough as a kid, but there are good lessons to learn. But I've had to learn as an adult to manage those things, that the world is not as clean and objective as a 100 freestyle.
Nothing is. Even that 100 freestyle is not clean and objective. I mean, what did you do the day before? There's stressors in your life. Like, there's so many things that go into that, and that's something that I wish when I was a swimmer I would have known. I was, I would say, very unhappy because of when I was a child swimming. I think I put a lot of like my worth into the outcomes. Like I felt like I had to do X, Y, Z in order to validate what I've put in and what I've done. And I've realized, like, that's not life, right? Like, you try your best, and I think about as well, like my kids, like, what would you say to your kids if they've been working really hard, they go out, they do a swim meet, right? You wouldn't say, like, well, you can do this, I know you can, because you've done it, and it was the same pool, same temperature. Like, that's not life. Like, it's just, there's so many different variables, and I think we as humans, we're not robots, we're human, and we need to give ourselves that grace on race day and every day.
Was there like a specific inflection point in your career where it went from like this internal pressure into feeling joy about the sport? Was that like a real gradual move, or was there like a moment where you're like finding joy in it from it being more like being hard on yourself, you can do this, to being like, I really love this, I'm feeling happy about it?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think towards the end of my first career in triathlon, I was feeling less joy, and so when I re-entered triathlon, I think that was kind of, I guess, like a moment of refinding that joy in the sport.
Yeah. That was something I always admired about you, was that you could see the external pressure, and then when you got your gold medal and decided you wanted to run, and everyone's expecting you to go back and try to get another gold. I thought that was really cool, because I don't think a lot of people know themselves that well to be able to say, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to pursue it. That was not a question.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely knew after that I wanted to start a family and have kids, and like that was my next, thing that I wanted to invest a lot of time in, and then yeah, try running as well. But yeah, I knew that for me to find joy, I needed to see a big challenge, and yes, it would have been an immense challenge to win another gold medal, but for me, I was kind of like, oh, I've done that, like I want something new and something that would engage me in a different way. And so I guess I don't always make the best financial decisions in my career that way, but for me, I really think like in order to perform your best and to be happy, like that is priceless, right? And so for me, I've always just followed that, and thankfully had a supportive family through all of that.
Investments in your own happiness.
That's right, yes. Bring it full circle, back to the start.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of the athletes that are pursuing their first Ironman or their 100th Ironman, it requires a lot of time and investment. And I think you're an incredible example of being able to, step away from expectation and follow what you truly want to do in sport. And it seems like you are finding joy and health and happiness and success in doing that.
I am definitely, I still have expectations. I think everyone has expectations. All these athletes, when they show up and race, they're going to have certain goals, and I think that's amazing and great. But it's being able to know at the end of the day what is driving you and what's motivating you, and having goals outside of the outcome goals that you can accomplish as well in race day.
Last topic for me, but you really, for me, defined an entire generation of the sport, an era that was incredible to watch. And I think we're at a moment where we have an opportunity to grow the sport again. I think there's a lot of interest in pursuing hard things right now, and health and wellness, longevity, endurance, resilience. Are there things that you would like to see out there in the world, or things that we can do as a community, as a group, to help grow this sport and implant some of those healthy lifestyle, mindset, decisions, ways to look at the world and themselves in the next generation of triathletes?
Yeah, I would just love to see more opportunities for younger athletes to get into the sport of triathlon. Like I said earlier, I didn't even know that short course Olympic triathlon existed when USA Triathlon approached me. It was a lot newer of a sport than a lot newer of an Olympic sport. But just giving those opportunities, I think, to kids is something that's really important to help grow the sport and help encourage, and yeah, just bring about a healthy way to exercise, have this balance, not really need to specialize in everything. I think so young is also something that I think triathlon could help with, just having this more, learn how to swim, get on your bike, run, do all these different things, and just to have a healthy outlook and a healthy outlet going forward.
Yeah, it seems like if all of our kids could swim safely, learn to ride a bike and be mobile in their communities, and find fitness anywhere through running, that we would be in a pretty great spot.
It would be a pretty healthy country. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Are there any questions from anyone out here for Gwen while we have her?
Yeah, I got you.
Do you plan to come to Yokohama next year?
Yes, I do plan to come to Yokohama next year. It's one of my favorite places to race. Great culture, great food, and great race.
Great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have raced all over the world. Are there any highlights or favorite race courses or cultures?
I definitely like racing in Asia. So Japan, South Korea. I've been to some pretty amazing places that are Miyazaki. Those are kind of my highlights. So yeah, it's been pretty amazing.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
Oh, and I like racing in the U.S., of course, but we need a few more races for me in the U.S. We just don't have many.
Maybe a Honu 70.3?
70.3? Bring it down. Olympic distance.
Yeah, more Olympic distance race.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough. It's been an honor and a pleasure to get to work with you, and every time I get to see you. It's great. So thank you for doing this with us. We really appreciate it.
Of course, yes, and thank you to all the athletes, and good luck to everyone this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, Gwen.